we're gonna do something really fun, experimental. I have no idea if this is gonna work out whatsoever in any way, shape, or form, but we're doing it anyway. That's where the fun is. Hi everybody, my name is Elisa. If you've never been around here before, I create my own digital sewing patterns and I take you along for the ride as I create my dream wardrobe for myself. So today we're gonna do a sort of, I wanna say it's an I see it, I want it, but not exactly. It's a bit of an in-betweener. So I have been to H&M recently, out of all places, and they have a really cute new summer collection that kind of caught my eye. However, as per usual, on second glance, once you try those things on, they actually don't look that great because the quality isn't good. So what I tried particularly was this dress, which, not gonna lie, made me look like a fairy princess. I liked it. I felt like I looked a little bit like I jumped out of Lord of the Rings or something like that, which, you know, isn't normally my vibe, but I kind of dug it. I don't know. It gave me a different look on myself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this is what I tried on. I like the silhouette of the dress. I don't like the fabric. I don't like the way it's finished in whatever shape or form. So I didn't buy it naturally. Got me thinking. And I actually recently started pinning a lot of these like chiffon, gauze, hobo, fairy tale, Chloe looks. There's like a number of designers that do stuff like this or have done stuff like this in the past, but I think the aesthetic of this is, you know, Chloe is well known for that aesthetic, and particularly I love all of these blue looks. Now this presents a different type of challenge. I bought some fabric, which we have right here, this pretty chiffon right here in this bright sky blue. I would have preferred something a little dustier than this, but I didn't have a lot of time, and this was cheap. This was about $4.99 per meter, which is perfect because, like I said, this is going to be experimental. We don't know if it's going to work out, and I think if it does work out, the color is still beautiful. It's a nice, bright, vibrant blue. So this is what we're going to use. I got 6 meters of this, and the challenge with this type of look is proportions, also the way you finish the fabric, and I guess getting the right type of volume, and also coverage, because this is see-through. I also decided to get some dusty blue power mesh, which, you know, I like to use to line my things. So I'm hoping that this together with this will provide enough opaqueness for me to feel comfortable in case I ever wear this outside in the real world. So these are the two fabrics. They're not exactly the same shade, but they're close enough to work, and because they're layered, they're gonna take on the same color. So this is the materials that we're gonna be using. And I also already did some testing on my serger because we are going to do rolling hems for the majority of this piece, because we're gonna have a lot of frills and a lot of tassels. We need to create a really nice narrow rolling hem for all of those things, for all of the flounces everywhere, because otherwise we're gonna go crazy. So let me show you how I changed the settings on my serger to get to that point. Okay, so this is the rolling hem I was speaking about. So it has this very narrow stitch in the right colors to match my actual fabric. To get this, what I have done is I have removed one of the spools on top. I'm just working with 3 and the latter 3, so this first one I removed. I also changed the tension up here. So normally all of these are set on 4. I changed them to be about 3.5 here, 4, and then 7. So this gives it this tightness that I was looking for. I also changed the, I guess that's the narrowness of the stitches. So normally this is on 1, now it's on 0.7, and I left this real as it is. I cannot tell you exactly what all of these things do. I did that based on a YouTube tutorial and it worked out well. And I also removed one of the needles here, so I'm just working with 1 needle now. I put the other one with a sticker here so I don't lose it. And I changed obviously the colors of the threads to the right ones. And all of these changes resulted into this finish. Okay, so after looking at all of the inspo pics, I started sketching my own design, and it's a bit of a accumulation of the different things that I was looking at. So we do have, similar to the one that I tried at H&M, a front opening. The one at H&M had little hooks, eyes and hooks in the front, so I might do that. Don't know yet, we'll see. We will have a tiny little ruffled collar on top here, and instead of the flounces going up in the front, I decided to feed them into the raglan seam right here that attaches the sleeves to the top, and then have it go around my arm, so it's gonna have this nice kind of like maiden-esque look, I hope. I'm thinking maybe. The bodice is going to be super simple, so it's just going to be this like raglan type top, straight, really just a column, and then the end of the column is going to be this V shape, because I want to attach a rectangular piece of fabric. Yes, rectangular, because I want an uneven hem, like an asymmetrical hem. I'm gonna attach a rectangle to this V. Is the plan. And then in the middle, around the midriff, I'm gonna have 3 channels, which I'm going to put spaghetti straps into, so I can ruffle up the waist and make it snug and tight. And then the sleeves are gonna be big bell sleeves. So there's a lot going on, sure, but I love it. It's the first sketch I made, and I feel like I landed exactly on what I wanted it to be. It's ethereal, and ethereal is the theme today. Look at me expanding my aesthetics. I'm not usually the one to go for ethereal, but here we are. I'm a bit excited about this. Okay, so we have the design, we have the fabric, we know how to finish the things. So now we need to create the pattern pieces, which is a challenge on its own. Okay, so let's start. This is the only piece that I'm gonna overturn with the lining, just because this has the center front opening. All the others are gonna go together without any overturned seams. So the front pieces are prepped and they look like this now. So they're lined basically, and the front edge is nice and clean, which is the only part that I need to pay attention to look nice and clean, because everything else is hidden in seams. And now I have these raglan sleeves, which are just the upper part of the sleeve. There's also a lower part of the sleeve. And the idea is that these flounces here go into this seam, right? So they go in here, which means that I need to place them while I'm also placing the sleeve and also the back. So it's a bit of a mental exercise trying to suss out how to do this. The back is unlined because naturally the back doesn't have to be super transparent. It's fine if it's a little see-through. So I guess the thing is that I need to suss out how to do this, because we have 2 sleeves. So that's the back, then the sleeve goes in here and the front goes there. I can't really explain this while I'm doing it. You just have to watch and see if you understand. So let's try something. By the way, I've also placed a gathering stitch on the flounces to give it some extra pizzazz. So I'm gonna ruffle it up even a little more. I'm done. I look done. See you tomorrow. It's morning, my hair is still wet, but I'm motivated, so let's continue sewing this dress. So the current state of affairs is this. So we have a little sort of cape at the moment with the raglan sleeves attached to the shoulders and the ruffles in. I think it's cute. I think if I had more fabric, I would probably try and add even bigger flounces here, something that's like a third layer and longer, but for the sake of experimentation, I'm gonna just continue on because I just don't have enough fabric right now. I need the rest for the skirt. But I'm kind of having a feeling that this might not be the last dress that I make with this type of design and fabric. I'm really into it right now. So let's see. We have these massive wedges of fabric here, which are going to become the sleeves. So this is the next thing I'm going to attach. So this is the lower half of the raglan sleeves basically, and they have been cut on a fold, so I have two of them ideally, and they look like this, and eventually they're going to be gathered down at the bottom, so we have a nice flouncy sleeve. That means that I now need to attach it to this curve here. So the fun thing about this fabric is actually that although it's quite transparent and lightweight and see-through, it doesn't warp much, which makes it easy to work with. I had different expectations, to be honest. Okay. If I somehow manage to stick the landing with this, I'm gonna look like a fairy, and I like it. Not gonna lie, I don't mind looking like a fairy. Naturally, the sleeves are way too long, so we have to do something about that. I'm going to, because, you know, it's still supposed to be practical, even though this is very Arwen and Eowyn-esque. We can't run around like this on a daily basis, so I will eventually ruffle this up in a elasticated cuff, and then we just have a nice voluminous sleeve here, although I'm probably gonna miss this flowing action, but I do feel like we're onto something here, definitely. I do like the raglan sleeves. I like how far down this section goes. It kind of like coincides with where the singed in part of the waist is going to be, so I think that's gonna look nice. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna close the center front here by separating the lining and the shell and then simply sewing it up until here, so I can leave this upper part open if I wanted to, like this basically, right? Because there's gonna be ties here, and I think that's gonna add to the effect. It's nice, I like it. Okay, let's focus. I'm gonna attach the skirt next, which is gonna be an interesting challenge on its own, so let's do that. the final stretches of making this, and it's been a wild ride. This is what it just looked like 2 hours ago. Not bad, not bad. I liked it, but I knew I wasn't there yet. So what I've done now is I've removed the skirt once more, kept that skirt panel though. I went out, get some more of the same fabric because I knew I wanted to add an additional flounce around the skirt seam, which I am in the process of attaching right now. And then the last thing I need to do is simply do the cuffs, and then I'm done, which sounds like I'm almost through. And it's interesting with this like experimental sewing, how as long as you're willing to take a step back and then undo something, and as long as you keep sewing with a basting stitch before actually attaching something, you're actually like, it's a fun process, because as long as you sew with basting stitches, you can easily remove that skirt, for example, that I've just attached. That was a matter of like a minute and a half to remove it again, but it gives you a very good idea of what it's actually for real going to look like, so you can make adjustments as you go. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Also with this particular piece, what's interesting is that it's literally just shapes. It's triangles and squares and circles that in the end create this like super voluminous flouncy thing, which I hope is gonna look okay. And it really looks very Chloe so far. I mean, I'm gonna keep my final verdict for the end, but I feel like maybe I'm doing something here. So that was a very fun little experiment. What do you think? What do I think? I think the dress is fun. It's pretty, but it's not perfect. I think it was a really, really good prototype, which is kind of, I guess, what I thought was going to happen in the beginning, because I've never done anything like this before. And the aesthetic of this is quite different from what I usually do, but I really dig it. And I don't know if you've seen it in the video, but I wore it with my beautiful expensive suede boots and my Bottega fake bag, and it kind of really gave off this vibe of like ready to wear Chloe, which I liked. I'm hooked though. I'm hooked on this aesthetic. I'm hooked on the idea of making another dress like this, and I already went and got more chiffon, this time in this beautiful color, which is, I don't know what this is, fuchsia, I guess. It's amazing. It's pretty amazing. And I'm kind of like hooked on the idea of making another dress in that style, slightly different maybe, also potentially short. Do you want to see this? Like, are you interested? Are you as interested as me? If so, say it in the comments. I think this is going to be the next thing I'm working on, to be honest, because I'm just like into experimenting with this fabric right now. Weirdly, doing the change on my serger really opened up this whole new world for me. I don't know why I've never tried this before. It just gives me the freedom to play around with shapes that are not super clinical, but still make it look pretty and refined through this serging process. Because normally you always have to think about how you finish edges and all that stuff to make it look nice, but with this like tiny rolled hem, it just looks nice by default, and you don't have to think about that side of the coin too much, which is fun. So yeah, I think next time we're gonna try again and see what happens. This one, like I said, is a prototype. I don't think I will wear this to the outside world, just because I don't think it's perfect. But let me know what you think. Would you wear this? I feel like it's a bit too frilly in the wrong places, and I look a little bit like a 1970s version of an angel, I guess. I left the sleeves long on purpose because it ended on a nice line with that first tier of the skirt, which I thought was cute, but it's not very practical. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily wear this to the outside world. Anyway, that was an experimental video. Let me know what you think. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.